But the thing that spoke the most to me in this comment is where he said that he gets really excited buying a game on day one and then for some reason just doesn't start them.
Yeah.
And I think the story is really interesting, and it made me think like we could do a whole podcast just on this one comment.
So from Landon Stallings, he said, I actually found your channel after searching Steam Backlog on YouTube. I have over 400 Steam games I've amassed in the past 5 years since I started PC gaming. I've been making a point to play games from my backlog, and I've had a lot of fun and had some great new experiences. I do this thing where I buy new games at launch, and I'm super excited to play them, but when I get home, for some reason I put it off and do other things. Landon, get out of my head, dude. I think it may be because between work, kids, and my wife, I just don't have the energy to learn a new game, and in my head it feels like work. I looked back on my Steam account history, and I've spent $1,500 on Steam alone, not accounting for the 30-plus games I have on Switch. I have a 10-year-old and 2-year-old twins. I just can't justify spending the money on games I may or may not ever get to play since I average about 2 hours during the week and 4 hours or so on weekend evenings.
Yeah. I mean, like...
I identify with a lot of that comment.
Yeah.
Except for the, like, kids part and all that, but...
Yeah. Having 400 games on Steam, that's quite... I mean, that at that point, you're got to feel overwhelmed with the amount of games. I mean, that's so many games.
I wouldn't even, like... It would be hard for me to just sit down at the PC.
I know. I can't look at it.
I know.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like something like Game Pass, where you have, like, a similar number of games, but you're just paying for a subscription to them. This is like games that you purchased. Now, I'm sure a lot of those games are probably relatively cheap because Steam runs great sales and, you know, you're probably a lot of those games are cheap, but probably a lot of them are expensive. We're talking about $1,500 worth of games here.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just talking about Steam, but, you know, like you and I have talked about, Epic is giving away like 2 free games all the time.
Yeah.
So I get on Epic all the time and claim free games. So
I don't really count those. I don't really count those as part of my backlog because they're free. So I'm like, if I play them, cool. If I never play them, it's not like I've lost anything.
Right. I feel the same way.
Yeah. They're not like my official backlog, but still, you know, like if you've paid for 400 games on Steam, it's just like, but the thing that spoke the most to me in this comment is where he said that he gets really excited buying a game on day one and then for some reason just doesn't start them.
Yeah.
Like that.
I totally identify with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that with shows like also, like there's a new season of Cobra Kai right now.
Yeah.
I love Cobra Kai. Have I started it? No.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like there's this part of my psychology that's like there's a block. Like it's really weird.
It's really and like this is the thing that I've found with games. Well, I just want to say that I looked today just to see. I have played this year so far. I have played 65 games this year. 65 different games. So I've started a lot of games.
Yeah. And
out of those 65 games, I played till the credits rolled on, I think it was like 45 of them. No, more than that. Almost 50 of them.
Wow.
I think that I had only abandoned 10 out of those 65.
Yeah.
So, like, I've played a lot of games this year. And what I always find is that every time I finish a game and I start a new game, I get that feeling of, like, I'm like, it feels like work to start.
You got to relearn it.
You got to, like, relearn a game. And it's like, I have that, like, those same emotions, even though I've played so many.
Yeah.
But what I found is that feeling is only for, like, when you're 5 minutes into the game, it's gone.
Yes.
You're just loving it. But those 5 minutes can feel overwhelming.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, but it literally just takes a couple minutes and then you're into it. It's really is the hardest part of starting a game is just starting a game.
Yes. And you know, it's weird, like, that really doesn't apply to me to multiplayer games. Like games that we're playing like online with friends that we're streaming or not streaming. Like really just Sea of Thieves and Fortnite are the only two that we've really done. And that didn't apply to me for either of those games. Because I was doing it like with people.
Right.
You know?
But when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. It's different.
It definitely is different. But it is a thing, like, and if you're wanting to put a dent in your backlog, you got to keep in mind, like,
you just got to keep moving.
You just got to keep going and just do it. And then that feeling of being like overwhelmed by starting a new game, which I think is there for everybody. And like, it happens to me, and I've played so many games this year, and it still happens to me every time I start a new game. You just got to do it because it's only there for the very initial beginning of the game. Then you're golden.
And you really need to just find whatever is the most convenient way to set up your ability to play games. Do that and have it ready.
Yep.
Because it helps a lot. Like
No barriers.
For me, that's like a handheld Switch. Maybe for you, Landon, maybe you spend $500 or $600 more for a Steam Deck, and then maybe you realize you don't play that, and then maybe you send it to me, or you play it and you love it. Win-win.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying though, portable gaming helps me, but
Yeah.
whatever it is for you.
And one of the things I actually suggested in a comment on this that I don't have up, I suggested that, hey, if you're wanting to put a dent in this, maybe prioritize the games that cost you the most money, because those are the ones that are going to be like weighing on your conscience the most,
Yes.
So if you spent $70 on one of those games, maybe play that one first.
Yeah. I think there's two ways to look at it. I think you can look at it that way, or you could look at it as what are the shortest games that are going to cut down the number the quickest.
Yeah,
So whichever's hurting you the most.
Yeah. Is it just get the number down, or is it?
Because I know I had like a 2-hour indie game in my backlog on Switch, and I was like, I'm just going to play that real quick. And I did it in an afternoon, and I was like, cool, one less game in my backlog folder,
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I do that too. Sometimes if I just played like a big, long game, sometimes I just want to play a little short one just to, knock one out.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah. But I think that in the future, we're going to do an entire episode where we dedicate more stuff to talking about backlog, because I think that we continuously get comments and questions and people wanting to know, how do I tackle my backlog? And so I think that we will do that in the future. So stay tuned for that for sure.